What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
What is up, man? How you doing?
It's good. It's a good day. Chiefs play
Big
tonight.
day. Big day.
Big day. It's my birthday. So Chiefs play Thursday night. They'll hopefully get a win for me. But yeah, it's I'm feeling old today, man. Like I mean, you know, you're way older than me, so you know what it's like. But I mean, 36. I feel like I have more gray hair than I've ever had in my life. My body feels a little old today. I'm a little tired. So how do you recover? How do you handle this old age?
You don't stay up very late, and you don't do much during the day, and you don't do very much at night, and you feel pretty good when you wake up in the morning. That's the only secret I can give you right there for that. Listen, I think the world wants to know, and the world meaning Magic. Last year we got you a Tinder subscription for a year, right? Tinder Plus or Tinder Gold. I don't remember what it's called. We just want to follow up. How did it go? Was it successful? Would you recommend it to your friends?
Yeah. You know, I actually was. It's funny you asked that. I was looking back at, you know, when I was putting together today's show, and I was looking back at what we did last year this time, and I was like, oh yeah, that was the the Oprah Winfrey special. You know, that was that episode where I won all the prizes. No, I would say it got solid use. I would say it was I thought, was it 6 months or a year? I don't remember. I thought it was.
I can't remember.
I don't know. It ran out, so that's unfortunate. But it did help. It was good. I would say it has a success rate of probably, what does it work? 20% of the time, 100% of the time. So it works really well. The Trulies, I mean, those were gone in the next, like the first couple days.
Yeah.
And I'll plead the fifth on the other prize I won.
All right, that makes sense.
But the thing is, like, I didn't need. If you have Tinder Gold, you don't really need the other thing. So you know.
Well, it was levels. We didn't think you would win the Tinder Gold, so that's why we had that one first or second.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's good. And you guys, you know, I feel like you've been living vicariously through kind of the updates throughout the year. So I think it's a jungle out there, buddy. You got to, you need all the help you can get. And Tinder Gold was that help you needed. It really pushed me through over the edge.
Are there any big plans for tonight? Carousing on Tinder tonight, or no, taking the night off?
Yeah, I think I'll pass on tonight. You know, it's tonight. Tonight's about family. I'll be hanging out with the family. So, the problem is with Tinder Gold is you start to spot some of your Tinder matches in public. You run into them, and then you're like, oh shit. One time that literally happened to me. I was at lunch by myself, which that sounds like a loser, but I was at lunch by myself, and I sat down, or I sat down, and I sat down next to these two ladies, and I was like, that girl looks familiar. And I could tell, like, she kept looking at me, and I started like click, and it was like, oh yeah, I talked to that girl one time on one of them. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. So it gets a little awkward either way, it gets awkward whether you follow up with it or not. You know what I mean? So
I understand. Well, there you go. I didn't know we were going to go that far, but I am glad we asked the question. Hopefully Magic listens to this, so he gets the answers that he needs.
Yeah, well, Magic, he's probably off, making some stupid video again or something.
That's true. Now. There's really no telling what he's doing.
But no, yeah, it's been a solid year. It's hard to believe it's been a year, to be honest. Lots happened, right? It seems like we're in a world where COVID has gone away, but yet it's not at all. We were just talking about off air. It seems like we're back to normal, so to speak, but off air, we were talking about how as fantasy football guys, that's been the story of the year, is how many guys are off on the injured, or, the injured report, but the COVID list. Seems like that's happening left and right. And obviously that's a big deal for tonight's game with the Chiefs, and Chris Jones might be out, and Snead's out for other reasons, and then Willie Gay's out so it's just like you don't know, and you hate to see how this is gonna. I mean, this could have an impact as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, and you have a huge playoff game. And I know we had those things happen last year and the year, but you didn't. You kind of expected this thing to kind of phase out, and it seems like it's only getting worse.
Yeah, it does. It's NFL's got big problems right now. NHL has got some issues too. Nobody's talking about it because it's still early in the season and NFL's going strong. But yeah, a lot of players, man. I mean, I think the Browns have 11 guys out right now, 11 starters, I should say, out. So, but like I said, it's everybody and it's everywhere. And the Chiefs without Chris Jones tonight, most likely, we'll see. Maybe he can get in there late. But yeah, and the thing people don't realize, okay, when you're out, that means you can't do anything. You can't participate. You can't practice. You can't anything. And that was like the NHL's big thing was, okay, you miss a week of conditioning and all that stuff. Well, it takes a couple of days to get back in shape too. So basically when you get COVID, it's a couple of weeks you're going to be out.
Yeah, and for what I saw is that a lot of these reports have been, at least the guys in the NFL, have been a lot of asymptomatic positives where they've it's almost just like they're fine, they feel fine, but they've got a positive, and now they just have to, like you say, be away from the team and can't travel and do anything really until they pass. And I think there's different regulations in terms of if you've been vaccinated, and of course you have the Aaron Rodgers stuff or Antonio Brown or whatever, that make up they've been vaccinated, but it's just wild. But no, yeah, it's a mess. But luckily we haven't seen any of that in racing. It's just back to normal, really.
Did racing ever? Well, it was always normal, right? Did racing ever acknowledge COVID? I'm not sure.
I mean, I know Oaklawn never changed. All they did is just extend dates. They just kept on. It's like, let's add more. Everyone's coming, might as well. So, but yeah, it definitely feels like nothing's really changing in that department, unless your name's Bob Baffert and he's got other things to worry about. Speaking of Bob Baffert, what'd you think of last week's Futurity? I know that was a heavy hitter of a race.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. 5-horse field and 2 Doug O'Neills and 2 Bob Bafferts. I didn't take much out of it. I thought Messier had a very, very wide trip and just couldn't quite finish with any kind of oomph at all. And slow down Andy just kind of got the trip and beat him. I mean, he definitely improved for sure from a speed figure standpoint. So there's that. But I don't think, like I said last week, I don't think any of these horses are going in the Hall of Fame, and I'll stand by that. I don't think these horses are very good.
Well, dude, we're a week away from less than a week away from the draft. And I mean, I know you've already started making our list, and I've started making my list, and it's just like, I mean, there's not, especially now, the 1 year I actually get a good draft pick, the second draft pick, and it's like, I don't even know. There's like not even a clear 2 horses that I like, like normal years, like last year it's like, well, if I don't get Life is Good, I get Essential Quality, or vice versa. Like, that you're getting this year, there's not anyone sniffing those 2 horses the way we felt about those horses last year.
Nope. That's about the best thing I could say. Nope. I mean, there's just nobody there. There's nobody out there that you're real interested in right now. And like I said, you get the number 2 pick last year, you get Essential Quality. Okay, we can work with that. But even like a Corniche who I'm going to assume or guess he's going to go number 1. I don't know that you're that excited about him, really. So right now it's an underwhelming group. Of course, we got a lot of time, but you try to put together 50 prospects for the Kentucky Derby. Well, you get thin after about 2, so there's going to be a lot of guesswork in this one. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, nobody's really standing out. Not a real talented group so far.
No, it's like, I mean, I feel like if Messier would have gone out and like romped or something, that horse could have potentially got the 1 pick. I could see John and them being like, okay, but hell, I mean, then you look at like Doppelganger who ran that made special weight, and I mean, shit, he looked awesome. And so you never know what that, maybe that's the horse that, so it's tricky. Like you could end up with Doppelganger in the 8th pick or the 2nd round or whatever, and be better off than Corniche, who, who knows what you'll see from him. So, yeah, it's kind of, It's a mess, really. And then you have the Baffert effect that what are you going to do with them? You know, I mean, where are they going to run? How are they going to get points? What's going to change? Are they going to get new trainers? Is that going to affect, how well they run? There's a whole lot of shit to go with that as well with the Baffert effect. So he doesn't have COVID issues. He's got, I guess we call it drug issues. Anyways, reportedly drug issues.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly. All right. Yeah. Let's, speaking of Derby, we've got a Derby prep, but quote unquote Derby prep this weekend, or at least Friday in the Springboard Mile. Are you going?
I'm not. No, I'm not going. Not going this year. I got too much other stuff going on. We're leaving it for New York this weekend, so I'm going to skip. But I will definitely be watching. You can bet on that one.
Do you have like frequent flyer miles you use?
I need them, man. I'm kind of getting tired of it. I just want to stay home, but no, we're back. Got Christmas. We haven't been to New York for Christmas in a long time, so. We were due, but it just comes at a time where we've traveled a ton, it seems like. So.
Yeah, I know. It's you're little travel people all the time. So every time I talk to you, you're going somewhere new. But all right, let's talk about let's get to today's show, because we have a big show lined up with the 400K Springboard Mile again at 2022 Kentucky Derby prep race at Remington Park. Then we're getting some rapid fire selections for the remaining stakes action this weekend at Gulfstream Park, Oaklawn Park, and Remington Park. Let's go. Yeah, it's oops.
That magic?
Yeah. I still don't know why it does that. Why he pops up. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, he's all over.
He just does what he wants. All right, do some springboard here. This is I don't know if you can call it a derby prep, but it is technically a derby prep.
It's not great.
It's not great. All right. Friday at Remington Park, race 12, the Remington Springboard Mile Stakes 400K. This is a race for 2-year-olds turning 3, obviously soon, going 1 mile, and it is worth Kentucky Derby points, 10-4-2-1 for your top 4 finishers. Phil and I lines up for this one, and I used the air quotes. If you're listening to this, I used the air quotes for the Derby prep, because it is a Derby prep. It's officially a Derby prep. Even whenever there's been horses that come into this race as some sort of hype, so to speak, it kind of fails to bring home any sort of real, potential horses for the Derby trail and the Derby itself. So Halterman is a field that looks relatively weak on paper. Do you have any excitement towards this race in terms of actual Derby prospects? Well,
I think the thing you can make for it, or the case you can make for it, is it's pretty wide open, right? Like, these horses aren't going to have to go face, Essential Quality, Hot Rod Charlie, Life is Good next out, right? Their crop that they're in right now is pretty wide open. So if somebody can jump up and run a big race, then they're going to be right there. I don't know who that horse is, though. It's kind of a mishmash bunch for sure. I looked at this for a long time. I actually went with the number 3, Bye Bye Bobby, which is a great name. And by the way, they have another horse. This ownership has another horse named Bye Bye Jill. So I do think that is what they're named after, Baffert and his wife Jill. So anyway, Bye Bye Bobby, last time out, debuted in a stakes race at Zia Park and won and looked pretty good. The trainer Finchner won this race last year with Senor Buscador. Similar type of thing, had one race, came in here and won. I think the horse fits really well already from a speed figure standpoint. And if he moves up a little bit, which you would guess first to second start he would, I think he's going to be tough here. Now, picking a horse with 1 win and it came at Zia does speak to what I think of the field. It's not great. So I did go number 3, Bye Bye Bobby on top.
Yeah, you know what? Surprisingly enough, that's where I landed too. And I know that with Fincher, and obviously you like Senor Buscador before the race, and obviously the horse won, and then you liked him a lot afterwards, of course. But yeah, I mean, you look at this, it's kind of crazy, right? This horse was an $870,000 purchase, a quality road horse. Obviously, they bought this horse with some real expectations. And then to debut the horse at Zia, you're like, yeah, that's weird. But he, like you say, like Fincher, like he won this race last year. This was the plan to get this horse from there to here. And I mean, obviously, similar closing style too, right? In terms of what we saw, Senior Buscore just kind of kept running late in that race and just kind of extended as the horse continued to go. That, of course, that was at 6 furlongs, so stretching out should not be an issue whatsoever, and obviously might even help the horse. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think this horse is very interesting here. You're getting 4-1, and I'm wondering if because of that 2 horse, make it big for Saffie Joseph, and he gets Jose Ortiz to ride, which is going to take a lot of money. Tell me about this one. Obviously, it looks like a very speedy horse.
This is a really interesting horse. 2 for 2 really nice wins in a row. Like I said, gets Jose Ortiz aboard. This is a Florida bred stepping up to open company and then obviously moving tracks from Gulfstream to Remington. The deal is the horse has won impressively both times, but the speed figures, at least from the time form standpoint, he's got the lowest in the bunch, and it's really not all that close. So it's weird, right? It's like, so what's gonna give here? Will the speed figures be right and this horse isn't very good? Or we'll look at it's like it's Saffie and Jose Ortiz at Remington Park, and that'll come through. I didn't know what to make of this horse. He is like the definition of defensive type of views, where it's like, yeah, I don't really want to leave that horse off, because what if the speed figures just were kind of off for those races, and then he comes up here and he wins and runs like one you think would run with Ortiz aboard in this field. So I'm playing them on a ticket. I'm not playing them on top. I just couldn't get there because those figures were so low.
That was a super weird one, because it's like, I'm with you. I kind of thought, and I kind of disregarded a little bit. And it's like, well, I mean, Jose's on the horse, and I'm with you. The number's pretty slow. It's obviously a lot to, moving tracks, going from, Florida bred to this. Not like this group is, a bunch of, world beaters, but still, it's tough, right? And then Saffie, obviously, outside of like Gulfstream is, that's his bread and butter. So
yeah,
you kind of wonder. There's a lot of question marks. So I'm with you. I think you got to use them defensively, because those 2 races have been very, very good. But yeah, you kind of wonder. You kind of feel like you could also see this horse putting up a nice little dud as well. Okay, what about the Asmussen and Winchell have 2 horses in here, including a gun runner in the 1 Concept. This horse ran a massive race 2 back at Remington Park, got a huge number that day as well. Came back from that race and didn't run very well at all in the Clever Trevor, which of course is kind of a prep race for this race. So what do you which Asmussen? Because obviously one of these horses, it's either the 1 Concept or the 5 Classic Moment. One of these horses is going to be getting a lot of money at the windows. Which one do you like?
Well, it's awkward, right? Because the number 1 Concept, like you said, 2 back was really, really good over this surface, and really ran a race that, from a speed figure standpoint, is just better than what anybody else has done up to this point. Also beat a horse named Tayana Twist, who came back to win a nice race at Churchill Downs. It's a pretty nice horse as well. Last time out, just too bad to believe. And now, Elliott was on the horse last time out, and he jumps to the 5 Classic Moment. So I'm kind of off the 1 a little bit here. I do think the 5 Classic Moment, like I said, the other Asmussen is interesting. Broke the maiden last time out at Churchill Downs. Beat a horse named Cyberknife, who was a horse I singled that day. A horse that looked really tough to beat. And, this horse got the job done over him. So I like that. I think this is the one I would rather play. I think, he's going to need to progress from that win. Going to have to jump up in the speed figure department just a little bit, but it's a Classic Empire horse, $350,000 purchase. So, I think this horse will show up and run a pretty good race.
And here's another one, the one that we'll probably see amongst a couple of these other ones that we'll probably be seeing from this race into the Smarty Jones. Osborne, the 9 for Ron Moquette, of course, an Oaklawn guy. Le Peruta on board. This horse debuted, nice 2nd place finish at Churchill, and then followed that up at Churchill with a nice win. So this is a very interesting, a Tapiture horse. Seems like this horse could do quite well here. I mean, it's Moquette. You got to think this horse has got at least, like I said, Derby kind of trail on his radar. So what do you think of this one?
Yeah, 100%. I think this is going to be his, Oaklawn Derby Series type of horse. Leparoux comes to ride here, and it's weird. Moquette and Leparoux, like with a horse together, that's odd, but this will be the third straight time. I think this horse is nice. I think he's going to be a horse that's going to have a say in a couple of these kind of races. I'm not leaving him off a ticket. I don't think you should either. I really think he's sneaky here. Outside draw, you might think that's bad, but he's got early speed, so I think he gets over before the first turn, kind of stalks maybe the two Asmussen horses. I think Osborne's got a big shot. I like 6-1 as well.
Yeah, I definitely, and his numbers came back fairly strong and very consistent too. So I feel like this horse is kind of, as far as what we've seen from these other horses, seem like they've been all over the place. Maybe some good, like the one had a really good race and a really bad one. The 9 kind of feels like has been pretty consistent. Even in the loss on debut, the horse ran really well. So I'm with you. I think the 9 at 6-1, especially, is kind of the one you need to watch out for. But all right, so you and I are both on the 3. Bye Bobby, 4-1. Either whatever happens in this race, is there anything that's, obviously, I don't want to twist the knife, but you obviously made your top draft selection out of this race last year. So is there anything out of this race that could happen that you're like, you know what, like that's a horse that's got some sort of potential on the Derby trail?
Well, I think when you look at just the connections, you think, well, if Make It Big was to win here, obviously I think it's like a horse. It's like, okay, he's pretty decent, Asmussen's, if one of his runs really well, you're like, okay, they could get on the Derby trail. Moquette, I mean, I don't think you take him as a Derby winner threat, but he'll be around. But I mean, overall, I think the best answer is no. You just don't expect a whole lot to come out of this race, But some other years we've kind of thought, okay, there might be a decent horse, here, and they're not. Maybe this year you get a surprise. So, but no, overall, I'm not expecting like a monster performance, this weekend out of this race.
Well, yeah, it seems like a race, like long range Toddy. Obviously, he came back to and shocked the world by winning at Oaklawn in the Split Rebels, but he obviously was a letdown overall. So you never know in terms of what, especially like you said, one of these Asmussens that comes out of this and just starts to run like mediocrely good races to where the horse is just enough on the radar, running these big races enough to kind of rack up some points and maybe sneak into the top 20 in front of the Derby ranks. But I don't know. I mean, I certainly think the horse that, like, for instance, you and I both like the 3. I don't really have a lot of big thoughts that the 3 is going to be a Derby prospect. I don't not even a little bit, right?
No, not at all. And I like, obviously, I like the trainer. I like the connections, but no, I just, Senior Buscador last year looked better than this horse coming into the race for sure. Like, if you remember last year, or you go back and listen to the show last year, I don't know why anybody would do that, but if you did, I was pretty excited about him. This one, it's like, yeah, he's okay. I don't think I'd pick him if there were like other horses I thought were decent in the field.
No, I'm with you, man. All right. That's the pick, number 3. Bye Bobby. Remember, this race is ran on Friday at Remington Park, so you want to stay tuned for that.
All right. Trapeze.
Let's do the trapeze.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by Racing Dudes Premium. That's right. Go over racingdudes.com to the handicapping products page to get your hands on any of our Racing Dudes Premium products. This is a good time of the year to do it. Derby Trail is just now kind of getting going again. Obviously, we roll into the new year. We got the Malibu coming up here next week. Of course, the day after Christmas. Then you've got, like I said, Derby, all these Derby preps coming up. And so if you are an active premium subscriber, you get all those wagering guides absolutely for free. Of course, the Pegasus World Cup in January as well, which is a huge guide. Get your hands on any of these guides, the past guides. You can go get them right now and read kind of what we've done. I had a really good guide, last couple guides. Of course, the Breeders' Cup guide was a huge guide as well. Any of our Racing Dudes Premium, you get the Rockets, you get Somobombs, you can get our daily picks for any of our tracks running the country. So anything you need, Racing Dudes Premium, go check it out, racingdudes.com. All right, we got a big slate here of rapid fire. We'll kick things off with the race prior on Friday at Remington Park. That's race 11, the Trapeze Stakes. It's worth $100K for going 1 mile for 2-year-old fillies. So we got kind of the same similar race as the Springboard. Not a technical prep, so to speak, but it is a race that you need to know in terms of what these horses are going to be doing as we move forward. And Halterman, field of 12, a big field, and very similar, maybe a little more as far as prospects go in terms of this 2-year-old filly division in the Oaks. You're looking at a very large betting option. So you want to talk about a betting field. You got it. Park on the Nile, I should say, for McPeak is your 3-1 favorite, 7-2 on Golden Sights for Brad Cox, optionality for Asmussen's 5-1. Those are your three very clear main choices. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I took a shot with number 9, Golden Sights. I liked what I saw last time out. Finally got the maiden broke. Had a couple of decent efforts before that. Now it moves to Brad Cox, and obviously you look at that and you're like, okay, that's a good sign as well. So I like Golden Sights. I like her to kind of build on what she did in her last couple of starts, and definitely the one last time out, really good win. McPeak brings in Park of the Nile, who won at 1 mile and 16th last time out, or Park on the Nile. That's going to be a tough one to say. You just want to say of the Nile with those horses, but
I know.
Pretty good debut. Certainly can come in here and win as well. But I took a shot with Golden Sights.
Yeah, the 6, there's lots to like, but my rule, I cannot bet McPeak at 3-1. It just is not something I can do. But the horse, that was a nice debut, and obviously the horse, she definitely could win here. I kind of was with you on terms of Golden Sights and trying to decide between that horse. Honestly, I kept going back and forth between the 9 and the 12. And if the 12 would have drawn a little better, I would have felt better about it. But ultimately, I finally did pull the trigger on the 12 optionality. A gun runner filly for Winchell Thoroughbreds, obviously, trained by Steve Asmussen, and you get Jose Ortiz to ride, which is, Irad, his brother, rode the horse last time. Again, another Zia to Remington Park angle here. But the horse kind of struggled a lot first 3 races. Didn't run terrible, didn't run great, didn't break her maiden, obviously. Then, boom, wins by 6 and almost 7 lengths, and then goes to Zia and wins that one by 6 lengths. Kind of feels like maybe you never know, I guess, with these 2-year-old fillies, but it feels like the light bulb may have gone off a little bit with this horse. Now the horse comes to Remington Park. I'm not saying this horse is a world beater, but it's a gun runner, Winchell, Jose, Asmussen, and you're getting 5-1. So I'll take a shot with number 12 optionality. All right. Let's go to Gulfstream Park next. I got a big card at Gulfstream on Saturday. Let's go to race 5 at Gulfstream Park, Sewanee River Stakes, grade 3. Worth $100K going 1 mile on the turf. Again, we have a bunch of 5 stakes races to talk about at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Halterman, field of 12 lines up for this one. Another big field here. We got turf action here. So what'd you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good race. I looked at it a lot of different ways. I'm going to try to beat the favorite here with an 8-1 shot. I went number 9, Summering on top. I think this horse really likes Gulfstream Park. Won a race at 1 mile, which is the distance of this one, last time out by 3 lengths. I look at this, and I think this horse can get out in front. I like the inside draw. I just hope they send and try to take him gate to wire again. I don't know. I mean, it is definitely a jump up from the last couple of races, but I think this horse is pretty solid. I think if she gets that trip that I'm hoping, I think she can take him gate to wire. So I'll try to pull an upset early here with an 8-1 shot. Number 9, Summering.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny. I think I'm trying to do the same thing, but I'm going to try to do it with a different horse. I'm going.
Okay.
I did go with the 3 Shifty She, just because I just felt like it's Saffy Joseph at Gulfstream Park, and this horse is going to be flying early in this race. I mean, at Gulfstream Park, 4 for 6, distance 5 for 9. This is kind of right up the horse's alley, and of course, this horse really looked good last time out in the Grade 3. At Belmont Park, this horse last time it ran at Gulfstream, obviously won back-to-back races. So there's a lot to like here with her. And I mean, what did you like? So do you think the 3, or do you think your horse gets to the lead? Because it kind of feels like the 3 will, especially drawn inside.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is possible that the 3 could as well. I don't know. Maybe they battle it out a little bit and set it up for a closer. Maybe we were looking at the wrong place. I don't know. I just really liked. I don't know. I thought the 9 just kind of woke up a little bit last time out. Once she got to that lead, I don't know. She just kind of found another gear. So I'm hoping they send her but we'll see. Maybe the 3's out there as well.
All right, let's go to the next one. Race 6, the Rampart Stakes, worth $100K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile. Field of 6, small field. But I got a little relief here on the field size. The field of 6 lines up here, and really take your pick, man. I mean, really, other than the 5 Grand Baby, it's a wide open field. Dream Marie is your 9-5 favorite on the outside, but you got Allworthy at 4-1. Don't Get Cozy at 6-1, 7-2 on Dance Dioro, and then Queen Nikia at 3-1 for Saffy Joseph. Where'd you land here?
Yeah, this is another one. I'm going to take a little bit of a price here at 4-1. 4-1 on a 6-horse field isn't too bad. I'm going to go Allworthy from the rail here. This horse gets back to Gulfstream Park. Last year at Gulfstream, she won 2 in a row before, taking on a lot tougher company. Ran okay in the Monmouth Oaks, got 4th. Ran okay at Charlestown Oaks, got 3rd, and then just got waxed against much tougher company in the Cotillion. I kind of think this is where she belongs. And like I said, getting back to Gulfstream and getting back to a mile, I think it's all positive signs. So I'm going to go Allworthy at 4-1.
Dude, I mean, I definitely am trying to beat the favorite, the 4-horse there, or I guess the 6-horse and the 4. So I'm going to go third choice here with Dance Dioro. Again, the horse that likes the distance, 3 for 6, 3 for 8 at Gulfstream Park. This horse, had a little bit of a break, came back to run at a mile, dominated, came back from that, finished 3rd. I like the fact that this horse is kind of shown that this horse is like the last 2 efforts, even though the horse lost, the horse was very quick and out of the gate. It kind of tried to go gate to wire, and it feels a little bit like that's the plan here, because it doesn't appear to be. The way I look at it, I don't see like any speed really, like it just seems like a very slow race on paper, and in a race that's got no pace whatsoever, small field, you kind of think the 3 just might try to take them all the way around. And obviously when these Ralph Nix and how do you pronounce his last name? Harmilio?
Yeah.
When they combined, they're hitting at 20% pretty steadily there. So his horses, or this he's rode this horse several times in the past as well. So I think that's a good move here to get him back. So I like number 3, Dance Dioro, at a mild upset. All right, let's go to race 8. This is the Sugar Swirl Stakes. It's Grade 3. 100K again. We're at Gulfstream Park. Still fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs, field of 8. Lines up here 9-5 on Frank's Rocket for Bill Mott. 2-1 on number 5, Center Isles. This horse is like, something's happened with this horse. This horse looks really good now. So what it really comes between those 2, are you going to take another shot against a favorite?
Well, I think Center Isle is the horse to beat. So, I mean, it's second choice. So I guess technically it's against the favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if this horse, becomes the favorite by the time we get to post. I'm with you. I think the horse just is really, really good right now. Rosario obviously can't ride because he's hurt, but Luis Saez gets aboard. I think that's a really good sign. I went Center Isle on top. I think this horse is going to be pretty tough to beat. Like I said, the horse, after it was with Chad Brown and wasn't good, but wasn't just horrible. And now with Pablo Lobo, it's like, okay, this horse is really, really good. So I'm going to go 5 center aisle on top.
Yeah, this is like, people forget, Center Isle was a $1.5 million purchase. Obviously had a ton of hope on debut. Debuted, looked awesome, was pounded as a favorite, and then the next couple of races, guess who beat the horse? Frank's Rocket. And that's where I'm going. I'm going Frank. I definitely think Center Isle is the horse. I mean, obviously, there's no doubt that those are the two logical top choices, but I don't know. Like, Frank's Rocket. Listen, the issue with this horse is that, does she know how to win anymore? Right? Like, it just kind of feels like she runs. That's probably your biggest. And if you are betting this race, probably your biggest kind of pause. Like, can she? Like, she's ran in some big races, some tough races, and she runs well pretty much every time. It's just doesn't quite. She's won here and there. She's won 4 back, and she ran in some tough races and kind of shows up. But Belle's the one. She had to face that horse the last 2 times. So I think that you're getting a class relief, frankly, and she has ran at Gulfstream Park once, won. And at this distance, it's a very good distance. 5 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 11 starts. So obviously this is right up her alley. So I'm kind of banking on the class relief is enough to get Frank's Rocket in the winner's circle. I like Junior Alvarado back aboard as well. So I'm a number 3, Frank's Rocket.
That horse, man. At one time, I definitely would have picked her. She just hasn't looked. Well, you said it. She just hasn't looked herself.
I know.
Lately. And
that's it. Like, chances are I'd be like, you idiot. Like, you're trying, and that horse you couldn't run, because it definitely feels like the horse has lost. But you also wonder if this is obviously a very big class relief from like facing Belle's the one.
Yeah.
So you kind of wonder, well, maybe if the class relief would be enough. And I mean, shit, Bill Mott, it's like not going to run her, right? If she's
right. Yeah.
Not doing very well. So yeah, that one's tough, but I definitely think Center Isle those two are the ones to play. Obviously there's a lot, Center Isle's been a horse that's, has had high hopes for, her entire career, frankly. It's just amazing that, Chad Brown couldn't figure it out. And now
I know
Paul Lobo is. So,
well, I mean, I think there's skepticism on why, but
yeah. All right, let's go to race 9, the Harlan's Holiday Stakes, grade 3 with 150K. For 3-year-olds and up, going 1 and 1/16 miles, field of 6. Lines up here. Another race that you kind of have options all over the place. Maybe not huge price options, but 9-5 on Mighty Heart, 8-5 on Fearless on the outside. South Bend's 4-1. Eye of the Jedi's 8-1. Halterman, Fearless or Mighty Heart? Where are you going?
I really feel like Fearless is the better of the two. I think second off the layoff will help this horse a little bit. Second off the layoff last year went to the Oaklawn Handicap and got beat a half length to Silver State, and it beat Express Train and had a horrific trip in the race, if you remember. So second off the layoff this year, I think you'll see a little bit of a jump off of improvement. I know they were got to be disappointed they lost last time out, but hopefully that was just kind of a prep to get this horse back. I like Mighty Heart okay. I like South Bend okay. I like Eye of the Jedi a little bit as well, but I just think Fearless is a little bit better horse than those. So I'm going to go Fearless on top.
Yeah, that's where I needed to. I mean, you think about the way this horse, or the kind of horses this horse has had to face, and then, like you said, really probably should have won the Oaklawn Handicap. Ran a huge race that day and lost. After the Pimlico Special, we didn't see this horse for 6 months, and then boom, shows up at Gulfstream Park and runs well. Just maybe needed a race. I like the fact that he's drawn outside. You kind of can sit the trip what he needs to do, and again, Luis Saez. There you go. So you get Luis Saez on board as well for Todd Pletcher, who obviously when they team up, they do quite well together. So and it came down to I don't think Fearless is like. I don't know necessarily think this horse is like a major player in the older division, but maybe not like the worst either. And The other thing is like, what really the one is who you would want to try to beat. I mean, South Bend, like I'm not betting South Bend with your money at 4-1, especially. So it just kind of feels like the race is kind of for the 6 to take.
It's there. If he runs like he did last year, second off the layoff, it's over. They're not going to beat him.
Yeah, I think he'll set a perfect trip off the speed and just kind of should become, kind of wheeling up on the outside at the, in the turn. And if the horse has any sort of closing kick like he's had in the past, it should be over. So I like number 6, Fearless. And obviously this might be who knows? Could it be a prep for the Pegasus World Cup? We'll see. All right. Race 10, the Fort Lauderdale Stakes, grade 2 with $200K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Another huge field of 12 here. And really, to me, I looked at this race for a while, and it came down to, okay, the 12 Space Traveler, I like that horse. 3-1, though, and all the way to the outside. And then you got a couple Chad Browns in here. Analyze at the 8 at 4-1. And then your favorite, 5-2, the 2 horse, La Emperador. Sure, maybe for Chad Brown. So where are you landing here?
Yeah, I kind of hate my pick here, but I just couldn't get away from the number 8, Analyze It. I just feel like this horse is going to be loose on the lead. And I think if that happens on this Gulfstream Park turf course, I think they'll have trouble running Analyze It down. I singled the other Chad Brown horse last time out, and it worked out pretty well. But I just didn't really like him back in this spot. Space Traveler, I almost put on top, but it's like, that horse has a lot of trouble winning, and now we're all the way to the outside. I just kept looking at this and thinking, I think Analyze It's going to be loose. And if he is, I don't think they'll catch him. So I went number 8, Analyze It on top.
Boy, how do you feel about that?
I don't feel great, but what made me feel a little better, dude, is it's like, I read through some of these other horses, and it's just like, I wouldn't feel great about them either. Like, this isn't a great field. So you know what I mean? Like, sometimes this Fort Lauderdale is a pretty good field this time of year. It's kind of a big race for the turf horses where there's just not any other ones around. I looked at this and thought, yeah, they could have got a better field here. This isn't much, Yeah,
I don't know. This is just not what you're used to seeing, really, in this time. Listen, I kept going back and forth here. Ultimately, though, I just kept going back to the 12 Space Traveler.
Yeah.
And just because you look at the way, I mean, look at this. This horse has been facing just monsters, really, 3 straight races since coming over from overseas. This horse, finished closing every time, running the mile quarter on debut in the Mr. D, finished 4th, beaten 3 1/4, 3.5. Domestic spending, obviously, that was the race with those horses right on the lead. Then you got the Woodbine Mile. This horse finishes 2nd. After that, goes to Keeneland Turf, finishes 5th, only beaten 2 1/4 to In Love and some Hot Brown. So the horse has been 3 straight grade 1s, going a mile. Well, the last 2 have been a mile. I think this race is going to set up pretty well for the horse. It definitely feels like this might be another prep for Brendan Walsh and bringing this horse to the the Pegasus turf. So you got to think this is a prep for that. I don't know. I'm a little worried that it is a prep, but the numbers the horse runs, even though lost, have been pretty strong, especially what we've seen in this field. I don't like sitting here at 3-1 on Space Travel, especially drawing all the way to the outside, but I don't know. I just feel like this horse might be the best horse of the bunch. If I'd either take the 12 or the other Chad Brown with you, Analyze It, just because I do like the pace standpoint from the 12 or from the 8, Analyze It as well. So I went with the 12. I don't feel great about it, but I definitely think it's not the greatest of fields, but I also think it's one to watch because I do feel like a couple of these might end up in the Pegasus turf next month. Let's see. Dennis says this is a maker special claim for 80K. Which race? Yeah. Yeah, I know, dude. And Dennis says this is a maker special claim for 80K, perform well, then is working the horse at Gulfstream system. I agree,
Yep.
dude. I was looking at this race over and over, and you look at that. Which one is it? Is it the 11 a tone? He's got a bunch in here. He's got the 10 as well.
The 7 was the one that got the big claim last out. Yeah.
So the 7 he claimed for 100K at Del Mar last time out, and might make her own. Like he bought the horse, trains the horse, obviously. Been working the horse at Media Blitz. That's a very interesting horse. A tone, a horse has been running in 80K claiming races. Obviously this is a move up, but it kind of does fit. And then Maker's got the 10, Order in Law, another horse that's a huge price. It definitely feels like the problem is like which Maker are you going? Because it feels like if you're gonna if it's not gonna be one of these lower priced horses, it feels like Maker it's gonna win with one of these.
Yeah, it does. It has a Maker. Even Magic and I did the preview, and he asked about one of the Makers. It just has that feel of a wow, he really got that horse to improve down here in Florida type of thing that you're gonna say once it's over.
Exactly. But part of the problem is which one is it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree.
All right, let's wrap things up with let's go to Oaklawn Park on Saturday, race 9, the Tinsel Stakes. This is of course the inaugural Tinsel Stakes of 200K for 3-year-olds and upward, going 1 1/8 miles. Field is 7, and it's kind of a fun field, really. Drew like a who's who of some of these older kind of shittier horses, except for Lone Rock. I mean, Lone Rock obviously has been very, very good for Diodoro. 8-5 morning line favorite, 9-2 Untitled Ready. You got tenfold in there at 6-1, 8-1 on Thomas Shelby, the other Diodoro. 5-2, of course, on Warrior's Charge, and he's still around for Brad Cox. So Lone Rock obviously has been unbelievably good, been very, very strong, but we've been seeing this. It feels like, oddly enough, it feels like you and I have seen Lone Rock in person like 100 times this year, because he's always been running in these kind of lower level stakes races earlier on the big cards. And he's been running for like 2 miles every race, mile and a half, he's running long races. So this is a cutback in a mile and eighth. Do you still like him though?
I'm going to take him. Another one. It's like, man, I don't know about this cutback, but I think the mile and an eighth was the key. Like if it was a mile and 16th, I'd be a little worried, but a mile and an eighth, I think it's just long enough for him. Honestly, it's just like he outclasses this group, right? And his form is just really, really good. I thought about Warrior's Charge for a little bit, but I don't know. It's been a long time, right? For him. He's starting to feel like endorsed a little bit. Like we talked about him last week. It's like, yeah, he's not going to ever win. If I was going to play against Lone Rock, I would look at number 6, Thomas Shelby. This horse has won 3 races in a row. The horse likes to get out in front. I don't see a whole lot of other speed in this race. I think he's dangerous at a price here. So I am going to put Lone Rock on top, but the other Diodoro, number 6, Thomas Shelby, I think makes a little bit of sense in this spot as well.
It definitely feels like you can't go wrong, really, so to speak, if you want to just play both those Diodoros, because you definitely feel like the 6 is going to go. It's going to set the pace, and obviously Diodoro knows what he's doing. He's going to set it up, and then you're hoping that the 2 Lone Rock sits off of that pace and pounces late like he has done. You look back at the last race where Tis Magician did all the dirty work, and Lone Rock kind of just came looming up and did his thing. And it's kind of like how he likes to win his races, kind of sitting off of it just a tad and then kind of pouncing late. So yeah, as long as the distance is not a concern, which is oddly enough to say, but you're thinking it from the opposite angle,
yeah.
Ran out of real estate, so to speak. I don't think, to me, I just think Lone Rock is just going to outclass the rest of these horses. But if you're going to play a prize, I would much rather play the stablemate than I would, well, certainly more than I'd rather play like Tenfold or Title Ready or even Warrior's Charge, because I mean, I don't know if Cullen was born the last time Warriors Charge won a race. So it's actually, to be clear, maybe Cooper wasn't. It was no, yes, he did. The last time Warriors Charge won a race, it was February of 2020. So almost going on 2 years. So
Yeah.
not completely out of the realm for Cooper. So no, I'm with you. I went Lone Rock. If you're gonna try to beat him, go with the stablemate number 6, Thomas Shelby.
Jeez, that was the COVID year. He won that Razorback right before.
Yep.
And then he ran an incredible race against not incredible, but a really good race against by my standards.
Yep.
And lost at Oaklawn Handicap. That started Mile. How many is this in a row now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's lost 11 straight.
And remember, he went to the Met Mile and he tried to. It looked like for like half a second, like he looks like he's a perfect spot, and he just shut down. But yeah, I mean, really, he at least was used to be very consistent in terms of like finishing on the board or a good fourth. But then he's been thrown in some 8s and some 6s and some 9s, and he just kind of he's in a little more a little less dependable. Dennis wants to know real quick before we move on what your thoughts are on the 3.
Well, it's won 2 races in a row, and a horse that I think is going to need a little bit of pace set up here, and I don't know that he gets it. That's my biggest worry. But horse is coming in doing really, really well. Gets Ricardo aboard. I think that's obviously a good sign as well. I think if you get that 6-1 price, there's definitely a reason to think about that horse.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like there might be a little bit too late, for him in terms of the pace. Like I think the pace sets up nicely for the 2 in terms of this. Like Lone Rock will be right on it. Like he'll be right there with his stablemate. But the 3 likes to come from well out of it. It seems like, and you got to think Lone Rock will be even maybe faster, so to speak, here because of the shorter distance. Because again, he's getting a break in the distance. So yeah, you and I are both on Lone Rock. All right. All right, that's all the time we have. Check out racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our handicap products page. Remember, click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at the main menu at racingdudes.com. If you want to learn more, of course, the Malibu guide coming out. I know Christmas is coming up and everyone's going to be busy with stuff. But remember, the Malibu and that whole day of racing at Santa Anita is coming up the day after Christmas, which this year falls on a Sunday. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And, of course, the wagering guide will be available for that sometime next week. Remember, we are a destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks as well as sports. We got sports. Just click the sports tab at the menu at racingdudes.com or just type in racingdudes.com/sports to get all your information on what you need for the betting. Of course, obviously, lots of news going on lately. Shit, man. Really on both sides now with college and NFL. But talked a little bit about the COVID issues. And, of course, last night, burning the midnight oil, the Jags say, you know what? Just fuck it. Let's just fire him at midnight. Urban Meyer's out as the Jacksonville Jaguar coach. That was a very short-lived. I think he won 2 games for the Jags this year.
Yep. 2-11.
Where's he going next?
I told you, I think he's going home next, and I don't think we'll hear from him again for a while. I think this was just a complete disaster from the word go, and you're crazy. Gets fired at midnight, basically Central Time. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I heard the phone go off. I thought it was a text message or something, and it was the ESPN alert. No, this was a disaster. I think if he wanted to coach college, he would have already done it. I don't think he would have went to the pros. I think he thought, try something new, a little less stressful as far as, not having to go out and recruit and all that kind of stuff. And didn't work out. Didn't work out too well at all.
No, not literally. Kicking kickers and cheating on his wife and just having That's the thing I read is like, they, after all that shit happened with his wife or the mistress or whatever, the club or his bar or restaurant, and it's like the ownership was like, we got to earn your trust back, and then it's almost like the report comes out of him kicking somebody, and there's got to be other stuff out there that we don't know yet, in terms of how he treated his players and stuff, and it's like, you know what, like. Because, I mean, you kind of assume that, at least I did, they're not a good football team. Like, there's not a lot of harm, so to speak, in just keeping them for the rest of the year. Let them finish the year out, and then obviously get rid of them in the offseason. But I guess the one plus side they see is that, I know there is a new rule in the NFL that once, I think it's like within the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, I believe, of the regular season, you can start recruiting. You can start looking at new coaches and stuff, and so they were going to get a jump on that. I was like, fuck it, man, let's just get rid of them. And clearly, no one gives a shit. Like the buzz you see around the sports, it's like no one cares that he's gone. And honestly, I think a lot of us saw it coming.
Well, they were, I think it was a 3-point favorite, and when he got fired, they've moved up to a 4.5-point favorite this weekend. So that shows you what Vegas thinks, and what the betting public thinks as well. I don't know. Nobody cares that he's gone. He just didn't bring anything to Jacksonville. And the guy I feel the sorriest for is Trevor Lawrence, because everybody's saying, oh, he's awful. He's awful. Well, he had no help. And I kept saying that all year. It's like, you can't judge him on this year, he just didn't have any help. So I still think, don't give up on him just yet. But yeah, it's pretty funny. And like I said, these college coaches, they come from a situation where they're the man. They are up on a pedestal, and anybody will just bow down to them. They get to the NFL and they don't have that, and they can't handle it. A lot of them, I think why Cliff Kingsbury isn't a total disaster in Arizona is he never had that attitude. He coached at Texas Tech, and he wasn't really a big deal, and he's a laid back guy anyway, so he could transition. Jimmy Johnson, think about him, kind of a laid back guy. He was able to transition and win in the NFL, but these other guys, they can't do it.
Yeah, and it is one of those. It sucks for Trevor, like you said, because he's gonna have, and this happens a lot. It feels like with teams, especially like you look at like a Browns organization, where they'll continually get new quarterbacks, and they'll also begin getting new coaches. And in this case, you got Trevor Lawrence, who is gonna have to learn a new system, a new plan, whatever that is, for the new coach that comes in. So it's like you're almost setting yourself back another year in terms of his development, because he wasn't, and like that Robinson running back, who's really, really good, one of the good players, and he just benched him. He fumbled once, and then there was some beef between Urban Meyer and Trevor, and so. In terms of that, how they handled that. And we're hearing these things, like, that's tip of the iceberg. Like, you just know that's who knows what this locker room environment was like.
And it's a very college football thing to do. Kid fumbles, we're going to bench him. You don't do that in the pros. That's not how you handle guys in the pros. These are professionals. You can't do that. You can get in their face and say, don't fumble, or whatever you want to say, but you don't bench them. That's what you do to lack for a better word, younger people, juveniles, so to speak. These are grown-ass men. You bench them, they'll just slap you right in the face,
I mean, you're in the NFL at this point. So, like, your job is to win games and to have the best players play. And sure, you need to manage their egos and be a player, and like, you look at like a guy like Andy Reid or whatever, that's like, they respect him. If he comes down on them, they respect that. Like, you have to earn that level of ability. You can't just come in and start telling guys what to do, especially when you have a very low, clearly moral compass in terms of how you're handling your own shit.
Yep.
And I just that whole deal, and I don't want to get like all over this, but like that, to me, it wasn't, to me, though, bothered me what would have bothered me the most. I didn't really care. It would have been like, you just lost in a very tough, close game, and not the fact that you went and like were doing whatever with this chick. It'd be the fact that you opted to stay when your whole team flew back home after a tough loss, the optics of that alone are awful. Even if there was no like shit that went on at the club or this bar, anything like that. But then you add that to it, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. And that the players were like, okay, we just lost. That was tough. He bailed on us. He left. And then he's out mingling with not his wife. It's just, you just lose all sort of trust and respect in your coach. And then he's probably firing, words and kicking kickers and saying shit. And it's just like, I'm sure they just only going to make things worse. I mean, he's just thought. I mean, really, I kind of thought he would be in okay place at the beginning of the year. Like I thought, maybe he's a kind of shake things up and get a guy like Trevor Lawrence in there, and he's obviously he knows how to coach college. Urban does, and this guy's right out of college. Like maybe there's that level of trust there, but man, clearly not.
I was gonna say, clearly not. Clearly, there is no level of trust anywhere. So. I'm with you. I didn't think it'd be a total disaster like this, but wow, it was. There's no other way around it. It was a mess from the very beginning.
What's the current line? Is it 3.5 still? What is the line on the Chiefs game?
Chiefs are -3 right now.
Okay, it's -3. What are your thoughts on the game?
Oh, I think the Chiefs win tonight. I really don't think it'll be. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I think it'll be a good game. I think it will be close, but I just think the Chiefs are experienced in these kind of situations, and I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to come through on a big stage. I think it's a game of the week, and I think the Chiefs get it done. I think they cover.
It certainly has. I think it's. It seems to me that this is like one of the better Thursday night games, and I'm biased, I know, but it's one of the better Thursday night games. Obviously, two divisional teams, obviously with high power offenses or semi high power offenses, depending on what Chiefs offense shows up. And obviously, the defense of the Kansas City is probably one of the better stories of the entire NFL this year. It's unbelievable the turnaround they've made. And at first, you start to think, oh, that's a little fluky because they're they played Love instead of Rodgers, or they had some bullshit things that happened, but it's just like it's continuing to happen. It's a trend now that this defense is showing up and playing really, really big football. So it's been a huge storyline, and obviously with the issues with the COVID stuff and maybe some of these guys like Chris Jones being out, it makes it a little more interesting. But I'm with you. I think the Chiefs will win. I think they're on a roll right now, and they're going to be tough to beat.
I think the biggest key tonight, this is the test for the defense, and I think that's to me the biggest thing to look at. They've been very, very good. Now you're on the road playing a very good offensive team, and if they can shut them down, I think they become the favorites to win the Super Bowl tonight. I really do. So I think it's a big game, and and the other end of it is if they lose this game, they may not win the division. So that's how pivotal this game is.
I saw a stat, and I'm gonna screw it up because I don't have it in front of me, and I don't know exactly what it was. But it's one of the first times in it is the first time since I think 2007 or something where we still have 0 teams locked into playoffs yet.
Yeah.
There's no team, like literally every team in the NFL. Well, there are some that are effectively eliminated from making the playoffs, of course. But as far as getting that spot, there's 0 teams still that have a playoff spot. Everything's wide open. We don't have any teams with less than, I believe, 4 wins or 4 losses. I'm sorry. It's so close right now across the board in terms, like you say, with the Chiefs division. I mean, shit. They could be like they're trying to get the 1 seed, and they certainly are in the driver's seat to do that in terms of if they keep winning. But they could also not even win the division and be trying to get a wild card spot. It's really that close. So, they've got the Chargers left. They don't have the toughest of schedules left, but they still. They have the Chargers. They've got the Steelers. They got the Bengals, which you never know with the Bengals. They've been kind of back and forth, and then you've got the Broncos to finish off the season. So you got to think if they can beat the Chargers, this is probably the biggest test of those last 4 games. And then you would think they could handle the Steelers and the Bengals will see, and then the Broncos definitely should be able to handle that. So yeah, they're in the driver's seat for a first round bye. You got to remember, it's only one team this year now that they do the buys for. It's not the top two seeds; it's only the one seed. So you really want that number one seed, and so obviously with the Bills and the Titans, obviously the Bengals have fallen. A lot of these teams starting to falter. The Ravens, it's up for grabs. It really is. So I got the Chiefs tonight too, if you can't tell, repping the Mahomes white today. So final thoughts, Halterman, on the what's going on. What's the Magic Mike doing? I don't even see a scheduled show for them. So are they?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I'm guessing they'll do Gulfstream with all the stakes races. I'm pretty sure that's where they'll go. So they're coming up about an hour and 15 minutes. And yeah, final thoughts. Last Derby prep before our draft, so a lot of fun. Springboard Mile, and then go to action again this weekend. Gulfstream and Oaklawn kind of carrying the banner until, like you mentioned, until Malibu Day there at Santa Anita, which is a week from Sunday. But that's very hard to believe.
Yep, and it's gonna. The Malibu's shaping up to be a pretty solid race. So it was as it is every year. So stay tuned for that, of course, and. Again, the Magic Mike Show, you can check us out on us and the Magic Mike Show on all your regular podcast platforms. Of course, on our website, racingdudes.com, on the podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Captivate. You go to our YouTube page and watch these videos back live. Kind of see the interaction as well as for that. Again, stay tuned for the Magic Mike Show. We believe maybe they'll show up and maybe they'll do the late pick 4 at Gulfstream Park. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.